so much for having me. I'm so excited to come talk to you in your new space.
I'm so happy that you are here.
This is
I'm
so
really
dope.
for
This is
our
like a
conversation.
real life moment, like touching feelings.
A long time
Yeah,
coming.
it's been a long time coming. A long time coming. So for the people who don't know, who is Alex? What does Alex do? What does she create?
So Alex is a 33-year-old black woman from Flint, Michigan.
Yes.
And I'm a photographer full time. I have been for about 3, maybe going on 4 years. I haven't done the math.
Okay. It's okay. I forget too. I forget. It's okay.
Yes. And I am currently building out my first photography studio, which is super exciting.
Yeah.
And I'm a bonus mom to an adult now,
Yeah.
officially 18.
So crazy. So crazy.
How
did you start in photography? Was it like something like I just woke up and the Lord just fell on my heart
you're
to
going
take
to be a photographer.
you are going to make this photo, or was it more so like you fell into it?
I had never thought about being a photographer.
Mm-hmm.
I also never thought about being a business owner. So my father has been a business owner for 25 plus years.
Wow.
And what's cool is in our studio, my studio space is 2,400 square feet, but I've cut it in half, and my dad's actually going to be on the other side of this.
Oh, wow.
So that's sweet. But he sold men's clothing for as long as I've been alive.
Okay.
Never wanted to be an entrepreneur. I was a bookworm. I played sports, so I was an athlete, and I knew how to do school, and never thought that I was gonna. My dad was like, "You need a side hustle. You could sell some earrings. You could sell. I can buy these jeans. You could sell jeans."
The entrepreneurial version.
One thing that had kind of been constant, but I never really realized it until I started doing photography, is that I've always liked cameras. So we had like cameras around the house. At last days of school, I'd bring the little wind-up disposable cameras, or my dad had video cameras. So if we took trips, he would have like video cameras or tape us like on holidays, and I would always like play with them. Didn't think much of it. Yeah. In college, didn't know what a DSLR was. In college, I had some friends with the DSLR, and they were taking pictures of people, and I was like, man, when I grow up, I'm gonna give me a big girl camera. That's what I call that. So when I get a big girl, job, I'm gonna get a big girl camera.
A nice big one that looked like a movie.
I was like, man, the thing, moves. And I mean, in college, I was always the one with the little point and shoots, and I was taking all the pictures. And like, if you go to my Facebook now, it's funny. I was going through something with my daughter the other night. She was laughing because they're cringy.
Oh, not cringy. I feel like all photographers work though. Like when you look back, you like, whoo, I came a long way. But I had a vision though.
So when I graduated grad school, I worked at SCAD, which is the Savannah College of Art and Design.
Yeah.
Surrounded by amazing art students, and one of our students, who wasn't my RA but in another area, was a photographer. And so he helped me pick my first DSLR. Big girl job. Just got my first big girl camera.
Listen, when you get your first camera, you can't tell me nothing.
I got a picture of it sitting next to me in my old 2006 Grand Am or whatever.
Wait, you took a paparazzi photo with
first.
the camera.
I want to show you.
I didn't
I'm
do
gonna send it to you. I literally have. It's like one of my first Instagram posts back in like 2000 and.
Oh my god.
13.
Like my mom made it look.
I love that little thing. Had a little kit lens on it. Terrible. But I used to walk around downtown Savannah as stress relief from my job and kind of learn from there. A coworker was like, hey, we're about to start this DJing business. Can you take some pictures of it? For $60, we went off to like Easter Market and took like some pictures at the murals. And then I had an old friend from college who was getting married. And I was like, hey, how about you take our wedding pictures? Yeah. And I was like, this is not what you want. $100. Shout out to Lenny.
Yeah. For $300. And at that time, it's like,
$300. I shot their wedding, and I bought my first off-camera flash. Or no, on-camera flash. Did not know how to use that joint. Definitely blew out. They was looking like Casper in some of those pictures, but not all of them, because I stopped using. There, I was like, man, maybe I could kind of do this on the side. And then I started to kind of do things on the side just to practice more, do some events here and there. And when I left my job, I was still kind of moonlighting on the side. And I went home and was like, I'm gonna just take 6 months off. I feel like a shell of myself. I don't know what I want to do, but I know that this isn't it. And I was like, well, maybe I can make a career out of this and do it on the side. Yeah, side hustle. I ain't never had a side hustle. In 2006, 16, I saw an advertisement for a free conference called Exposure. And I only saw the advertisement once. I registered immediately, could never find, like, didn't remember the name of it, couldn't figure out where it was until they sent me, like, to remind me, like, hey, I registered. And I went to this conference and was like, people are making money doing this full time.
Yeah.
I was currently in a job where I was working with young people, which is my first passion.
Yeah.
But the structure of the place where I was working, it wasn't a place where I wanted to be anymore. They didn't. And so I was like, man, well, let me try to see if I can go part-time doing this and kind of ease into the busy season for photography. And ended up joining like the TEDx Detroit photography team, and like met some mentors and met some friends, and started to learn how to build my business. Wow. And that's kind of how it started.
So how has that process been for you, like leading up to now? Like, do you still feel like you're on the right path, or do you feel like, oh, I'm still figuring things out as I go?
I feel like it's interesting because in life I'm doing most of what I thought that I'm doing what I wanted to do, but it doesn't look like what I thought it would look like. Okay. So I thought I was gonna be in my 20s and 30s. I was gonna be somebody's youth pastor, like working with young people.
I can actually
like
see
having
that
like that was my I wanted to be a youth pastor. I wanted to have like a nonprofit. I wanted to do things that were centered around young people, and serving and loving on and helping young people. And what's cool about photography is photography not my number one passion, but it's the vehicle that allows me to do the things that I want to do. Right. So I do work in ministry. I do preach. I do teach. It's not on a weekly basis or like in the sense that I was doing it before, but I'm still working with young people. Like I said, I'm a bonus mom, but I'm still doing the things that my heart wanted to do as far as like walking with young people and being in ministry and doing stuff. But I just career-wise didn't think. I thought I was gonna be somebody's stay-at-home mom, so stay-at-home wife, stay-at-home mom, doing full-time ministry and raising my kids. And I'm 33, going on 34 in a couple of months, and I'm doing a lot of those things not as a stay-at-home mom.
Yeah, it's like, look,
not as a stay-at-home
we're
mom.
outside a lot, but you know, I go home at some point.
I ain't married, you know, ain't no ring on my finger.
Yeah.
Got a whole grown adult child. Who's not a child, she's an adult now. 18 is an adult.
But it's still like hard to like, I'm sure as a mom, like it's still like, she's still my baby.
Very much so, but also it's kind of like, you know how mama birds just drop their baby from the nest. I want to make sure that they're gonna be able to fly.
Love you, bye. Here's a care package, right?
So it's a good balance, but we both learned a lot and have been through a lot in the last 3 years. But it's been cool. It's been cool.
What would you say is the hardest thing you've had to do, like endured or had to go through in your career thus far?
Like in photography in general,
or just
this studio? This has been a process.
Yeah, because the last time I saw you, that's what I was telling you before. The last time I saw you, all your equipment was in your car, and and you were driving around with it, like working. I was like, "You go, girl! I know you're gonna be in something." Yeah.
It's been this because my first space was in a co-working space. Okay. And so it's nice because I had like some small space and I didn't have to carry my equipment from home to on location. But then after I left that space and I was working out of a friend's space who already had an established studio, I then transferred. I then went from having my stuff in one place and not really having to do a lot of carting to having to then carry my stuff everywhere that I went, or set it up, take it down, you know, and that's a lot.
Yeah.
So coming here and having this and having everything that I can have kind of in place is nice, but choosing to build out your own studio is a lot of work. You got to work with contractors. You got to mitigate your own feelings, and you got these big ideas, but you really need to just kind of do what's going to work in the moment. Right. Money. Stuff costs money. Yeah. Floors are expensive. But so this has been the biggest challenge because this also came at a time where there's a lot of transition in my own life, and so it's just been interesting to watch me go through this.
Yeah. I mean, I've been catching little snippets like, Oh, this, I know that's a lot of work, but it's so great to see it come together.
It is a lot of work, but I've had a lot of family step in and help me. People who, like, my uncle's an electrician. My mom did all the painting in here.
She did really good.
This was working. Okay, she was beautiful green wall.
Yeah,
all
like,
of this.
The green was nice pop of color.
Yeah, so it's been a good opportunity to see how much of a village that I have, even though I already knew. But in times when I just didn't have the stamina or even the like peace of mind, or I'm always stressed out or worried about stuff that I really can't control and probably shouldn't be stressed about, that I have people kind of in my circle, and the Lord was making everything work in a way that everything I needed I had plus some. I just had to get to a place where my heart and my mind was settled enough to rest in that and not be freaking out over all the other stuff.
Yeah.
So that, I would say building this has been the most difficult. The second thing is probably like just learning how to, as a business person, charge correctly. Charge for what your expenses are, charge for what your service is, and offer, you know, the level of work that you do, or for what you offer.
Yeah.
I've been through a lot of different phases and stages in that.
Yeah, we went from, because I feel like a lot of us as photographers, like, or really as creatives, like, we started off, it's like, ooh, I used to charge X, Y, and Z, and I've even talked about this, like, I used to charge $100 for product shoots, and so think back on that, and I'm like, that was barely a year ago, and I'm like, how in the world was I getting material? Like, what was I doing? Because people would be like, you're doing so great, I'm like, I don't. You think so? Because this is difficult, like stretching them dollars, but still trying to make it work. Yeah. And, you know, get that practice and get that creative flow going and really showing people, like, because I also feel like it's that too. Like, you're trying to show yourself that you have worth and, like, you know what you are capable of, but also, like, trying to tell other people, like, I could do this. Like, I mean, it's one thing for you to tell me, Bree, I can do a nice photo of you. But it's another thing, like, seeing something. And so it's like that too, like, you have to literally show somebody, like, look, this is the picture, this is the world, and I can shoot, you know, like, I can shoot it this way.
You really have to educate, like, your client. And I learned that along the way from mentors and from different programs that I've been a part of. The first person who ever told me about in-person sales was Jen Lewis. And I was like, how in the world is someone doing photography and averaging, like, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 sales? Like, I don't really understand how that works. And when I sat down, it had a lot to do with that. Like, I can tell you, hey, I do photography, this is how much the service is, I sell products and prints and stuff, and they're like, okay, but the price doesn't resonate because maybe in the area people typically just give you digitals, or maybe you know, maybe the price there's a difference in price point. But then I do consultations, so I bring people in, I have my stuff on display, it'll be on the wall here soon, and I have like, I take my albums and I'm like, hey, this is what this is, see that this is velvet, you open it up, and you give people an opportunity to touch stuff and see stuff, and you talk to them about what the whole service and the whole experience looks like, and then from there they're able to, like you said, see the value. And I think this is because I don't like sales and salespeople that much. And here I am as a salesperson, but I don't value conversation. I don't resonate a lot with that, like, because it's not necessarily that I don't value myself as much as learning how to become comfortable talking about yourself or talking about what it is that you're doing without what's the word I'm looking for? I guess without like diminishing what you do. Yeah. But I guess that is work. So I don't know. I deal with a lot of imposter syndrome, and even now, like, in learning how to confidently talk about what I do, or feel confidently about what I do. Like, so I, you know, it's just fear, right? Like, it's a lot of fear. Being an entrepreneur is really, really hard. And so if you are naturally like this this person that's not worried about risk and things like that, like, it's a little bit more for us to kind of have to climb our way through and come to a place where we're like, no, this is what it is. This is what I offer. These are the services. This, you know, and when you do it confidently, people don't question you so much.
You ever feel like you're constantly having to like keep up with things, or is it? No. I didn't think so.
Yes, and no, mostly. Like I don't like social media, but I'm on social media, and I'm not, and I want to classify the type of person that I am. Yeah, because there's people who don't like social media and they're actually not on it. Like, I actually am on social media during the day and I'm scrolling, but I don't like posting and doing stuff, like, and so I don't consistently run my business on Facebook or Instagram. So I get a lot of my clients through word of mouth.
Okay.
But for some businesses, it's really, really important. And I do think that when people don't use social media, you miss out on people. However, you can run a really strong, lucrative, or profiting business without social media.
Yeah.
And so, yeah.
I think people forget that because it's like we've gotten, especially when COVID hit, or since COVID has hit, and then like being stuck in the house, like it's become even more pressure to just be like, you can only be successful on this screen. You can't be successful outside the screen. But it's like I could have sworn I walked past like 10 people, and I could have easily just handed them my business card or something, or even just showed them my social media. And so I think that's always like a curiosity of mine. So what would you say what are 3 things that you wish you knew, or some advice you would give to entrepreneurs prior to starting their business?
Okay, so glean wisdom from someone who's been there. I think that there's really no reason for people to go into things blind and make a lot of mistakes when people are willing to mentor or give information. And some of that might be paid for information, but there's a lot of people willing to help people starting out if you talk and you put yourself out there and you ask the right questions and you're consistent. Because entrepreneurship is hard, and you can stumble for years trying to figure it out for yourself and keep failing. Or you can figure it out for yourself and you still be successful. But I just am a firm believer that you get further faster with people's wisdom. And there's people out here willing to do that. So, and that's how I got further faster. I went to conferences and people were willing to show me, do this, do that, or here's an example of what my pricing sheets look like, or here's some, hey, I got this opportunity, how should I price myself, or how should I approach this? And people gave me a blueprint. I didn't always follow the blueprint, but it helped me see things that I didn't understand yet because I wasn't there.
Right.
So leaning on to a village of people, I would say learn what it costs to do your business. Because a lot of people start businesses and they put a bunch of money into stuff and they don't think about the money. And so they're losing money, or they're not making money, or they're making money and they're not putting it in the right places. But that's the stuff that people don't like to do. But it's the stuff that'll be the difference between you spending maybe $200 and $500, between you making a profit 1 month of $1,000 and $10.
Right. Yeah.
So you have to do your numbers. Excuse me. And then the third thing is don't be worried about what other people are doing.
Oh, that's a good one.
I
mean, the other ones were good, but that's like the best one.
Yeah. Like, I think that it's easy sometimes to feel like you're behind, or it's easy to feel like maybe your stuff isn't as good, or I don't know. Everybody has different feelings, and some people have none of those feelings, but I think that each of our races are our own race, and what we're doing is our own thing. It's like what you said earlier. Somebody, you could see what I'm doing, or I could see what you're doing, and I could be like, man, I love the way Bria does her product shots. I've been watching her reels. I'm gonna do exactly what Bria does. And my pictures might look exactly like yours when I'm done. But it doesn't mean that I'm going to be successful. It doesn't mean that I'm going to find the clients. It doesn't mean that I'm not either, but it's kind of like, just focus on you. Like, like, figure out what you want to do. Figure out how you want to do things. I feel like in this last year and a half, I've learned what I wanted to sell and what I didn't want to do. And in the beginning, I took people's blueprints and I made them my blueprint when I should have took people's blueprints and then just took the meat and left the bones. And so what that led me to do was buy these huge samples. I got this, and this, because like, buy big, sell big. But I'm a fresh photographer selling new samples. I'm selling this at like $700. I didn't sell nothing. Why? Because I didn't know enough about IPS. I wasn't, I hadn't grown into that. And I was selling like 15 different products. And now when clients come meet with me, I'm selling like 5. I'm selling like 6. Okay. And they're all in the same family. Like, I went down from selling 3 different kinds of wall art to only 1 at 3 different sizes. Or I do like albums, and there's a lot of variety and customization in the albums, but there's only 2 sizes. And so I learn how to make it your own. Do what works see what works for other people, but do what you like.
Right.
Because in the end, you're gonna be like, man, I'm just doing this because such and such, and
Right.
I'm
I'm
like
not
this.
even happier.
This ain't really getting me them results. Or I'm making this too difficult.
Yeah.
And I'm the queen of making stuff too difficult. Not for other people, but for myself.
Yeah.
I'm the queen of making things easy for other people and difficult on myself.
Of course, yes, we all.
We get
all
out
have. We've all done that. So moving forward, not knowing.
You're gonna do the Heisman on that.
Oh my God! So moving forward, like, what is your overall goal, like, with the space? I mean, like, beyond like just taking the photos and even like some of the things. I know you mentioned like working with youth and stuff like. Is that so? Something you want, or what we looking like in like a year?
I don't know. So I have a lot of things over the last 2 to 3 years. Like I've written like blueprints for like an organization, for a podcast, for nonprofit, for this idea and that idea. And I have a lot of ideas, but I don't know. I think my first goal is really simple. I'm opening up my first studio. I want to make sure that within the first 6 months to a year of me having this place, that I have good processes down that run clients through things seamlessly, that make people feel like their experience was stress-free or was simple.
Yeah.
I want to be able to offer a client experience that they enjoy. I want to offer things that are unique, so that when so that as I'm growing, like, people can say, oh man, you can get such and such over at Alexandria Photography Studio. We don't see that anywhere else.
Right.
And so really my main goal is to just build a really good storefront business. And then from there, add some things. So I don't get too much because I've been sitting on some of these ideas for a long time.
You gotta marinate them.
You do have to marinate them. And I've had a couple of ideas that I've done or piloted and I've shared, and I've seen other people kind of do it. And not from they stole my stuff.
Yeah. But, who are they? Who are you?
But I realized too, like, that in the excitement of having ideas, that sometimes you share a lot, and it's just like, oh, you just keep it to yourself for a little bit.
Right. Yeah.
So I just want to run a really good studio, and I want my clients to feel taken care of.
Right.
Like, and I want things to be simple for them.
Good.
That's kind of where I'm at.
Well, thank you so much for being
You
part
are
of this.
so welcome, Oprah.
Stop it!
You are so welcome.
Oh my God. Thank you so much for being a part of this series. I was so excited that you had availability, because I was like, yes, because this has been an interesting process for me as well. So I'm just happy. And even like being in your studio, like, I would have never guessed, like,
girl,
we'd be doing this in your studio, but we ain't here.
After all them conversations that we done had about how to price and how to deal with stuff and how to.
Yeah, but you did it. Yeah, I mean, you did it all the way. Like, I'm here for it. So
nothing but the grace of the Lord.
Yeah,
that's all.
Listen,
Jesus.
He'll carry you real nice. You're like, okay.
No,
I like where we going.
Exceedingly above and beyond all you can think or imagine. It's very, very true. But I appreciate you coming and checking me out, and I appreciate your love and your support and stuff, because we not like conversations.
Yes, we
a lot
have.
of talks.
All right, well, peace out, y'all.
Thanks, Oprah.
Stop. Not Oprah.